Good morning, guys. One small part of pricing principles that is left is how to arrive at the cost equation. Because we have been discussing how to calculate the price, what is the optimum price at which, the profit levels will be maximized, so on and so forth. But this discussion pertains to how to determine the cost of a particular item. Now, cost equations are derived from historical cost data. Historical cost data is basically you will look at the cost values for the last 2, 3, 4 years, provided the business has remained the same, production methods have remained the same. And once a cost equation has been established using methods such as the high-low method, which will be taken up later, it can be used to estimate future cost. In the exam, the cost function will be linear. In real life, it need not necessarily be linear. It could take the form of a curve also. Okay. But in our performance management discussions, all the questions relating to cost are cost bolo, revenue bolo, demand bolo, marginal revenue. All of these are basically linear graphs, as in they can be expressed graphically in the form of a straight line, not as a curve. Okay. So if I wanted to decide what is the total cost of making a particular product, I would have to take the total of fixed cost and the variable cost. Variable cost is directly proportional to the quantity produced. If you produce zero, you don't incur any variable cost. If you produce 10 units, you include 10 into whatever is the variable cost per unit. If you produce 100 units, your variable cost is 100 into whatever number of units are made. What is this B? So while X is the number of units produced, B is the variable cost per unit. And as the output increases, the variable cost also increases. So how would you, if somebody were to ask you, what is the variable cost? It is number of units produced into variable cost per unit. In one of our earlier discussions, we had discussed that variable cost per unit remains constant. Total changes according to the change in output. Whereas fixed cost total remains constant, per unit will fall as the output will increase. Y is A plus BX. What is A? A is fixed cost. Regardless of the level of output, the fixed cost does not change. It remains the same. So, if on my graph paper I plot the number of units on x-axis and cost on the y-axis, what will you observe? You will see that look at this green line, okay? This green line stands for my variable cost. At output 0, this is 0. At output 100, it is this. At output 200, it has increased further. At output 300, it has gone up even more. Whereas at output, so as output increases, the total variable cost also increases. Look at this line, which is parallel to the x-axis. What does this line indicate? This is your fixed cost line. At output 0, you are incurring a fixed cost of 200. So regardless of the level of output, fixed cost is always incurred. आउटपुट 100 हो गया फिर भी फिक्स कॉस्ट इज द सेम. आउटपुट 200 हो गया फिर भी फिक्स कॉस्ट इज द सेम. सो फिक्स कॉस्ट, if you plot it graphically, is a line parallel to x axis. And if you think about it in coordinate geometry terms, if you remember, how would you define a how would you define a line parallel to x-axis? A line parallel to x-axis has an equation y equal to constant, which means whatever is the value of x, howsoever the value of x changes, the value of y remains constant. Hence, this blue line is your fixed cost line. And what is this dotted line? This dash wala jo line hai, this line is your total cost. See, this is fixed variable cost में आपने कुछ add कर दिया. What is आपने कुछ add कर दिया? That is your fixed cost. So y is equal to a plus bx is the standard equation. Whenever you want to calculate the total cost of an item, y is equal to a plus bx is the standard equation. ठीक है. So in some cases, this could take a slightly different form. What do I mean by that? In some cases, what would happen is you could have a step cost approach also. तो let's look at a couple of examples कि भाई ये होता कैसे है and how will we determine the cost of a particular item. ठीक है. Now let's start with a simple example. Let's say example 1, fixed cost is 1 lakh. Variable cost per unit is 5 per unit. Variable cost per unit is 5. And now state the cost equation. ठीक है. सो वेन एवर यू स्टार्ट स्टडिंग फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक ना, आप सीधा आंसर मत लिखो इवन इफ यू नो द आंसर. ऑलवेज व्हेन यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग, राइट डाउन द फुल थिंग सो दैट एग्जाम में आपको थोड़ा क्विकली आ जाएगा. इफ यू राइट द सेम फॉर्मूला अगेन एंड अगेन, इट इम्प्रूव्स योर नॉलेज बेस. ठीक है. नाउ स्टैंडर्ड कॉस्ट इक्वेशन इज y equal to a plus bx. A 1 lakh. Variable cost per unit 5. Activity level we don't know, but we don't even need to know. They have not asked us, tell me the cost for 10,000 units. No, they have just said, tell us the cost equation. So y, which is your total cost, small y, is a 1 lakh plus 5x. That is variable cost, total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Now let's have another situation यहाँ पे. ठीक है. Pay attention. This was example 1. This is example 2. Fixed cost is 1 lakh. Variable cost per unit is $5 for volume up to 1000 units. Volumes above 1000 units receive 5% discount on all the units. Derive the two cost equations for the total cost function. Now, यहाँ पे you see there is a, and why do you think after 1000 units there is a 5% discount? Maybe the supplier from whom you are purchasing this particular item. Okay, the supplier from whom you are purchasing this particular item, for bulk purchases above 1000, he gives you a small discount. So that naturally gets to impact your equation. ठीक है. Variable cost per unit is when more than 1000 units are made. Till 1000 units, the cost is 5 per unit. जैसे it becomes more than 1000 units, there is a 5% discount. So, variable cost per unit increases when, or increases, nahi, sorry, decreases. Variable cost per unit decreases as the output crosses 1000 units. ठीक है. So, below slash up to 1000 units. आपका cost equation कैसे होगा? Up to 1000 units, cost equation will be y equal to 1 lakh plus 5x. ठीक है. And for output above 1000 units, y equal to 1 lakh plus there is a 5% discount on variable cost. So 5 में से 5% subtract करो. You will get 4.75x. This is your second cost equation. So there is a possibility that two different cost equations might operate in a particular situation, not just one single cost equation. Because as the output levels cross a certain threshold, there is a possibility that because of economies of scale, because of certain discounts, you will be able to save on the variable cost. कुछ क्वेश्चंस जो हम देखेंगे देयर वी माइट एंड अप सेविंग ऑन द फिक्स कॉस्ट ऑल्सो तो और द फिक्स कॉस्ट माइट बम्प अप बियॉन्ड अ पर्टिकुलर लेवल ऑफ आउटपुट तो कब अभी वो करते हैं लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दैट इज डन ओके हैव अ लुक एट द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इट्स नॉट अ टफ टॉपिक इट्स अ लल्लू टॉपिक बट पेपर में आया तो वी शुड बी इन अ पोजिशन टू टैकल You are given the following data. Fixed cost 250, variable cost is 6 per unit up to 5,000 units, 10% on all units produced when units ordered are more than 5,000 units. ठीक है. So the two cost equations are as under for output levels up to 5,000 units. क्या होगा? Y is equal to A. A is fixed cost, 2,50,000 plus variable cost is 6 per unit up to 5,000 units. यहाँ पे दिया है. And for output levels above 5,000 units, Y is equal to fixed cost remains the same, but there is a 10% discount on all units purchased. So 6x के जगह पे 6 minus 10% of 6. That will make it 5.4x. They had only asked you the two cost equations and you have told them what the two cost equations are. ठीक है एक बार देख लो चलो When an opportunity to increase sales and production levels arises in a business, the key question to answer is, will the increased contribution, sales less variable cost generated by the increased sales, exceed any additional fixed cost that will be incurred as a result of the increased sales level? एक क्वेश्चन देखो an opportunity arises to increase sales by 10,000 units. Selling price of additional units is 10. Variable cost of additional units is 6 per unit. Fixed cost will increase by 50,000. Should you pursue the opportunity of making 10,000 additional units? ठीक है additional revenue earned by making 10,000 units will be 10,000 into 10 per unit. That is 1 lakh. ठीक है and additional total cost incurred for making 10,000 units will be fixed cost. How much is the additional fixed cost? 50,000 plus 10,000 into variable cost is 6 per unit. This will be 1,10,000. You can very clearly see that additional cost you will incur on making 10,000 units is far greater as compared to the additional revenue earned. So you should not pursue the opportunity of making these 10,000 units. So additional cost incurred for making 10,000 units is 1,10,000, whereas additional revenue earned is 1 lakh. So it is not worthwhile to make 10,000 additional units. ठीक है, बहुत ही सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन था. एंड ऑनेस्टली यू वुड हैव बीन एबल टू डू दिस क्वेश्चन had you never studied costing, or even if you would have never been a commerce student, you would still be able to do this question. It was that easy. And now the last one. ठीक है, a company produces and sells one product and its forecast for the next financial year is as follows. Sales 1 lakh units at the rate of 8 per unit is 800. Variable cost, material and labor, you have contribution, fixed cost, net profit. In an attempt to increase net profit, two proposals have been put forward. To launch an advertising campaign costing 14,000, this will increase the sales to 1,50,000 units, although the price will have to be reduced to 7 per unit. And to produce some components at present purchased from suppliers, this will reduce material cost by 20% but will increase fixed cost by 72,000. Discuss whether these proposals should be pursued. ठीक है, दो प्रपोजल है. फर्स्ट वन इज टू लॉन्च एन एडवर्टाइजिंग कैंपेन कॉस्टिंग 14,000. दिस विल इंक्रीज द सेल्स टू 1,50,000 यूनिट, ऑल्दो द प्राइस विल हैव टू बी रिड्यूस्ड टू $7 per unit. ठीक है, सो लेट्स सी, is there a way in this situation where we can compare the two outcomes? What is proposal 1? Let's evaluate proposal 1. Evaluation of, let's do two proposals next to each other. ठीक है, यहाँ पे let's write down particulars. यहाँ पे लिखो proposal 1, यहाँ पे लिखो proposal 2. ठीक है, now, and there is, of course, you know what is the existing situation. ठीक है, let's talk about units sold. Now, the first proposal is to launch an advertising campaign. Because of this, what will happen? The units sold will increase to 1,50,000. Excuse me, but the flip side would be that the selling price per unit would fall down to, selling price per unit would fall down to 7 per unit. ठीक है, then total sales would be A into B, which is 1,50,000 into 7, that is 10,50,000. Now, यहाँ पे if you observe, how many units are produced? 1 lakh units are produced. Material cost is 3 lakh. So, on the basis of question data, ठीक है, material cost per unit is 3 lakh upon 1 lakh, that is 3 per unit. And labor cost per unit is 2 lakh upon 1 lakh, that is 2 per unit. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे let's write down material cost per unit that we have calculated, then total material cost, F, you will have your labor cost per unit, G, you will have total labor cost. Material cost per unit है 3, labor cost per unit है 2. Total material cost will be 1,50,000 into 3, and total labor cost will be 1,50,000 into 2. ठीक है, so let's now also write down the total fixed cost. अब यहाँ पे the original total fixed cost is 1,50,000, but here There is an advertising campaign जिसमें you are incurring another 14,000. So total should be how much? 1,50,000 plus 14,000. That is 1,64,000. Up. I will write down my total cost. Total cost में आएगा total material cost E plus labor cost F plus fixed cost H. 9,14,000. ठीक है. I and J. J is profit. Profit is C, that is total sales, minus I, that is total cost. कितना होगा? 1050 minus 9,14, 1,36,000. ठीक है. अब let's evaluate the second proposal. Second proposal, to produce some components at present purchased from suppliers, this will reduce material cost by 20% but will increase fixed cost by 72,000. They have not mentioned anything about the number of units, so that means you will sell the original number of units, that is 1 lakh. Selling price is 8, total sales are 8 lakh. Now the fixed cost, so now what are they saying about the material cost? Material cost will reduce by 20%. 3 minus 20%, 2.4. So total material cost is 2,40,000. Labor cost is the same. Total labor cost भी उतना ही रहेगा. Sorry, total labor cost will not be the same. It will be 1 lakh into 2, that is 2 lakh. Total fixed cost here they are saying increases by 72,000. So earlier it was 1,50,000. Usme you added 72,000. 2,22,000. Total cost is material, labor, total fixed cost. Profit is 1,38,000. Now you might feel कि यार proposal 2 is better, but observe the original profit. Original profit is 150 and both proposals are not increasing it beyond 150. In fact, they are keeping it, they are bringing it below 150. So I don't think any proposal makes sense. In both the proposals, the net profit levels have fallen below 1,50,000, which was the original profit level. So there is, so neither proposal should be chosen. दोनों में से एक भी proposal doesn't make sense. ठीक है. Have a look at the evaluation of two proposals and tell me if there is anything that you need a more clarification on.